This video is part 1 of 2 videos covering paragliding in Bridlington Bay. It is aimed at low airtime pilots or pilots with very little coastal flying experience. It should be used in conjunction with the Cayley Club site guide. Their webpage is shown above. It is intended to be used with the more general video, Coastal Flying Tips and Techniques, which was posted earlier. It is not a training video. It is based on over 20 years' experience of flying the East Coast, and it has been prepared purely to make your visit here more enjoyable and, I hope, a bit safer. The flight from Bridlington Coastguard Station to just short of Flamborough Lighthouse and back again is a trip of about 15 kilometres or so, and will test all your flying skills. For a good coastal weather forecast, check the 10-metre elevation map on RASP. You're looking for a wind speed of anywhere between 7 and 15 knots and a direction from east through to south-southeast. The one shown is perfect, south-southeast about 12 knots. If you notice, inland, a few miles even, we've got an offshore breeze. The takeoff point is situated about 300 metres north of the Coastguard station and being flat and free of obstacles, it's ideal for low airtime pilots. If you are first on site, it's imperative that you put out the 4 warning signs. These are available from the Coastguard station on the doors situated on the upper deck on the outside. Take note, these signs are only warning signs, they're not prohibitive. The public have a right to wander where they want on the cliff tops, so don't expect them to keep out of your way. Do not go suddenly inflating your wing as people are passing, or if the land train's in sight. Although, as these pictures show, you'll very often have the cliff top to yourself. Set your wing up well back from the cliff edge, and in strong conditions give yourself plenty of room. Don't even think about taking off until you've got everything under control. There's a marked increase in wind speed at the pressure zone on the cliff edge. It takes a lot of commitment just to push through it. Turn to the left gives you a 500 metre run down to Sowerby Steps. A relatively easy flight, although sometimes it can be a fast one as it's usually a downwind leg. On your first visit to Brid, I would suggest you limit yourself to flying this stretch of the coast, as you can usually make it back for a safe landing on a dry part of the sandy beach. The more tricky alternatives of top landings will be discussed shortly. If the wind is off to the left, i.e. has got some easterly in it, this will be the only part of the coast what's working anyway. The first 300 metres after takeoff can be a bit of a struggle. You may not even get above cliff top. The temptation when you turn at Sowerby is to hug the cliff all the way back. You have after all got the right of way. If you adopt this attitude, you'll knock everybody out of the sky who's following you. So instead head out over the beach and set up a circuit, going round the people behind you, as in this example. Now let's look at a few landing techniques. But before we do, take note. A cliff is in essence a ridge laid on its side, and the cliff edge is the ridge line. So in essence, any top landing is in the lee of the ridge. If you're unfortunate enough to land in the lee of a ridge inland, you'd get your landing gear down early, wouldn't you? So do the same on the coast. For a start, it gives a good indication to the people on the ground and in the air what your intentions are. So let's start with a relatively easy landing. You've gained plenty of height and the wing's square onto the cliff almost. You've turned at Sowerby and you're on your way back. Keep running parallel to the cliff top at this point. There's some really nasty rotor at the back of the cliff. About 2/3 of the way back, having checked that the landing ground is clear, i.e. there's nobody taking off and no members of the public walking across it, get out your harness and weight shift to the right and head diagonally towards landing point. As soon as you cross the edge of the cliff, you'll be out of the lift band. You should be starting your rotation immediately. You'll be surprised how quick you can come down. Don't worry if you've turned too early. At this point you can simply head back out to sea, up to Sobe, grab some height, do it all again.
Alright.
Now you're probably thinking, what was all that about? We learned those landing techniques on his first week of his EP training. Well, a subtle change in wind direction and speed can change that easy peasy landing scenario into a leg breaker, as we'll now explain. Whilst you've been in the air, the heat of the town has turned that southeasterly breeze into an easterly, and suddenly you've not got the lift you used to have. And the return leg from Sobe is a pretty quick one. If you try the last landing technique in this situation, you'll be on the deck before you've turned into wind, and you'll be hitting the deck at about 30 miles an hour. So instead, we're going to do a 180-degree turn over the beach, which will then give us multiple landing choices. So line yourself up in front of the cliff and head straight down the coast, initially pulling for as much lift as you can. And then, just short of the landing field, it breaks off and dive to fill your wing with energy. At the bottom of the dive you enter into a smooth 180 over the beach. You'll end up facing back upwind. At this point you have two options. The first is a safe into-wind landing on the beach. The second is to weight shift to your left, and using the energy stored in your wing, pull yourself up onto the cliff top, or failing that, find a smooth spot to land in on the cliff face and drop your wing over the cliff top. Before you enter your turn though, give a clear indication to any passing pedestrians of your intentions, and make sure they're well out your way before you attempt to land on the cliff top. So before we finish, let's look at that landing technique again, taken on a different day. Just notice the speed of this downwind leg. The cliff top is pretty crowded, so I'm heading for the grassy bank between the brambles and the cliff face.
Keep walking.
The lady on the bench is a paraglider pilot's wife,
Yeah, you're all right.
and she had been pre-warned of my intentions.
It's a good one, wasn't it?
Very good.
Yeah, no problem.
Another alternative, when the wind is way off to the east, is to head past the landing field, turn over the beach huts, and try and sneak back up the coast. The downside of this is you've got to hang your ass in the brambles. If you get it wrong, you're in a pickle.
Oh, there's nothing there, nothing there, nothing there, nothing there.
Looking back at this trip, I don't know why I just didn't go and land on the beach. If the wind is off to the south, then this is probably the easiest landing of all. You're just slipping over the edge of the cliff, put it down wherever you like. So if you found this video of use, then join me for the next posting, when we'll look at the trials and tribulations of the trip from Bridlington to Llanbred and back again.